And to continue on with family, do any family celebrations, rituals, or observations stand out in your mind?
For my family, it was always gatherings. No matter where it was, any holiday where all the family, no matter we were married or far away, everybody got back together. Christmas time, we had we used to pick names out of the hat, buy gifts for, because it was 11 of us.
So when you pick the names out of the hat, it was Secret Santa
Yeah, like
in
Secret
a
Santa.
way.
And
Okay.
we go out and we buy gifts for the names that we had, plus the gifts that were coming from, mom, sisters, everybody else, and those that had kids, because it was like I reiterate, there's 11 of us. That was Christmas time. During other holidays, like say Thanksgiving or Easter, we will rotate whose house that we're going to. Everybody would cook. It was not always like say Sunday. We would have, how would I say, Sunday dinner was always at my mom's house. But when it came to these big events where everybody would pile up into a car or just go to whoever house it was for that day, we was mainly three sisters and a brother that I remember growing up, that houses that we used to share these events at. And we would go there to, eat these big dinners, such as, collard greens, banana pudding, cake, turkey, ham, macaroni and cheese, collard greens,
Yummy.
um,
I'm getting
the,
hungry.
the whole thing, everything from the pig, basically. Rice, red beans and rice. And that was before I knew, you know, what red beans and rice was. This was everything. These are the rituals that we went through. Everything that stands out is, Easter's that, everybody used to go and get fresh haircuts, hairdo up. Everybody used to come to church with, shiny shoes, straight jackets, pants that was already ironed. Everything that we supposed to come out and look, because these are the things that my mom installed in us.
So you can basically say like events like holidays you took very seriously, like you were clean cut and made sure you were
Yeah,
properly dressed.
yeah, holidays, and this is every day. Like my mom didn't raise no shabby kids, and so we didn't have it. We didn't have everything in the world, but at least we would learn how to dress and how to impress. And we were going out in the community. This is what we supposed to do. Even though we were raised to be independent for ourselves, we were raised to respect the household that we were coming from and respect. When you go out there, you're very much judged by the way you look. No matter what people try to say, this is what my mom installed in us. We go out there to impress. We leave an impression on that the person that we come in contact with.
And now we're going to go into the second half of the first session, which is about your neighborhood. What was your home like down south in South Carolina?
My home and what do you?
Like, what did it look like?
My home, we were poor. We were very, 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 very poor. 2 bedroom, 11 kids. Raised a family house, or was, given down through generations. There was no build up because, like I said, we didn't have it all. But we didn't never look at it as, we look at it as this is our home. We household was built on love, stayed in love until, I guess we can say, the age of 7. I think it was 7. We moved to the projects. This is in South Carolina. Projects was to black people as considered the bad neighborhood, the rough neighborhood.
Now, when you say projects, do you mean
Housing authority.
like trailer park,
No, these were
or
brick.
apartments, brick
These were brick
apartments?
houses that
Okay.
looked like, and this was our first house that had more than 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. We had 2 baths in that house, so I thought it was a mansion. I thought it was, walking in. Me and my brother had my own room. My sisters had their room. 2 of my sisters had their room. My mom had her own room. Like I said, You walk in and you can actually see 2 bathrooms. You're living like the Clampets. Like you're living like George and Wheezy. We finally moved up, even though this was considered low housing, subsidized housing. Um, at 7 years old, 8 years old, I knew nothing about all of that. I just knew we moved to a new place where, you know, my toys were there, my family was there. This was closer to school. This was basically in the city. This was not to say in the city, but this was,
A
still in this,
suburban
yeah, still in the
suburb
small
thing.
town of Georgetown, but it was more houses, more neighbors, different people than the cousins that I grew up around.
And since you mentioned your toys, I would like to know what objects do you remember in some of the rooms? Like what type of toys, the name, the brands, what kind of beds?
Wow, you asked me to dive deep into my childhood. I really, me growing up, it was all about Hasbro and Bugs Bunny, Warner Brothers, Daffy Duck, Piglet, Winnie the Pooh, plenty of stuffed animals. But most of the stuff that my mom actually made herself, handmade. These were Christmas presents as well, birthday presents. In the rooms were, mostly twins beds for, my brother and me. And another room was twin beds for my sister, 2 of my sisters. The last room, twin beds for my mother and sister again. And then the main bedroom where my mom was, the master bedroom, was just her bed. Um, Her room was basically, master bedroom, color TV, dresser. And my room was toys, posters. This was growing up during the 80s, where it was like New Edition and, how would I say?
I'll be sure.
No,
The New
that was
Jack,
that was very 90s then. That
the
wasn't
New Jack City.
that wasn't, not yet. Growing up, well, my childhood, because I grew up in the projects, it was from 9 all the way up to 16, basically. So it was like my whole life. So I did grow up through that era of 80s and 90s, growing up with Transformers all over the place and, with my sisters, we call it Barbies and Cabbage Patches and Garbage Pail Kids and growing up with actually cassette tapes rather than CDs and digital downloads.
And since you said you lived in subsidized housing,
The projects?
yeah, quote unquote the projects, quote unquote the ghetto,
That's not the ghetto.
how did you feel about your neighborhood? Like,
Loved it. Loved
why?
it. Based on like my neighborhood, don't get me wrong, growing up, we're blind to say the drug use and everything that the news pretend that project housing was. My neighborhood grew up, loved it. This is back in the days where you can stay out till the light comes on, then you're home. Everything that we did outside, playing together. I was from the I'm gonna say era where you fight with one person the next day and fight with them on Tuesday, Wednesday we're back friends again. Thursday you can have the same fight, but Friday we know we're looking forward to the weekend. We're gonna ask, mom or dad or auntie or grandma, whoever we were staying with, can we go over to Tony's house to spend the night? These are the days and the times of what I loved about growing up. It was it can be a bad from what from how would I say it?